Welcome to the Mindfulness broadcast. My name is Tiffany Grimes. It is Friday. You are with Empower, and we are here to be here purposefully and together. Welcome. I had the opportunity yesterday to teach a class that I love and that I have not taught in, I think I only offer it twice a year. But I taught it in partnership with Central Oregon Community College and as part of their professional development program, and taught, it's a 3-hour training called Becoming a Mindful Leader. It's one of my favorite ones. And I was reminded yesterday, so we were teaching this and I share some results out of this Harvard Business Review, or a study that was done at Harvard and published in Harvard Business Review, where they really look at what tools, so it was specific to mindfulness and leadership, and but really it's a brain that is well practiced in mindfulness. So somebody who is actively engaging in mindfulness on a regular basis. So about 10 minutes a day, and that we're doing it most days a week. That's how we would define active engagement. And of course, you've heard me talk about this, but that what it does is actually changes structures of our brains and parts of our brain that we can develop and strengthen. So you've heard me talk about that. It's the amygdala, the reticular activating system, the insular cortex, the self-regulation hub of the brain. And so, I love all of that neuroscience piece of it and what it's actually doing. But what that means as we develop and change our brain, the results of that are these 3 specific areas of mastery. And those are metacognition, allowing, and then curiosity. So we're going to use our practice today to go through that specific sequence, but I want to describe it. So metacognition is the skill that we build, our ability to think about our thinking. And we don't do that without practicing it or a great coach or a great friend reflecting it back to us so that we can kind of see our thoughts. Otherwise, they are back there playing all of the time, literally all of the time, and influencing how we relate to life and stressors and events and so forth. And generally speaking, those things are going to be ideas and concepts that have just come to us through our culture, through our upbringing, and not placed there purposefully. And they are just looping. So in mindfulness, metacognition, that ability that we develop through changing these structures of our brain is that we get to witness that, that craziness. We get to witness what is happening in our brain and influencing the very way we are relating with all of life. So we're witnessing it, sometimes for the first time. Then it moves to allowing, right? So allowing means that we just meet ourselves there. And the way that I often try to meet myself there is when I see it, when I've practiced metacognition and I notice my thoughts, the stories I'm telling myself, the belief systems that are present. When I practice allowing, I use the intro sentence, oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that the story I'm making up is this? And when I think that, I start to feel anxiety about that, or angry about that, or super excited because the story is this thing, this phone call, this lead, this connection is going to fix everything, right? So I'm just noticing it. And then I am allowing that to be there and not denying it or shaming it or judging it. And then I move to curiosity. So if that is so exciting for me, how do I get more of that? What does an action plan look like? What would move me forward here? What is the root of this fear or this anxiety? What else might be true? My story is this. What else might be true? What could I do to explore this a little bit more, right? So I'm then meeting myself with some really great questions that allow me to be in a different relationship and also coming back to metacognition, kind of craft that story a little bit differently in my head, right? So I'm shifting, I'm going through this process and it's kind of looping back so that my very process and experience with life can be a more mindful one. And I'm not just looping through these um, well rehearsed stories in my mind unconsciously, right? I'm bringing it all to the conscious, which is the beauty of our mindfulness practice and building a mindful brain. So, with that, let's get into our practice. As we do this, I want you to think about something that's going on in your life that's it might be something really great, it might be something very challenging, and we're going to use that to practice this metacognition, allowing and curiosity. All right. So when you're ready, you can close your eyes, or you can take a soft gaze and just be with your breath this morning. Be with it as you inhale, and then be with it as you slowly lengthen and exhale. And do that a few times through. And as you're doing that, get yourself into a posture, a position that reminds your brain that you're doing something special here. You're just really bringing energy into the body, creating a posture that allows breath to move and flow. You might wobble side to side or forward and backward and really find a place where you feel a sense of balance. And then as you're doing this, just allow your brain to start to think about life right now and any particular aspects that are more prevalent for you. So, something you're working on or working with, something that seems to be occupying a lot of your brain space. And if you can't think of anything, it's not a problem. Just listen and move along with the practice. So, if you will, I want you to think about that issue, I'm going to call it, or that challenge, or that event. That's what I'll call it. I want you to think about that event as though it was a work of art, a painting hanging on a wall, or a sculpture. And we're really going to kind of observe it from a new angle, thinking about how we explore art with such curiosity, just open curiosity. And we're going to invite that into our practice. So I want you to practice metacognition right now, which is really to say, observe your thoughts about that event. What is the story that you are telling yourself? What makes it important? How will it impact you? What is its relevance? And as you're doing that, observe your answers. And note that these are thoughts, these are stories. And while aspects of them might be true, there might be many more versions that could play out or that might be true. And so, with love and compassion, we're just going to practice allowing, which is just to say, isn't that interesting? I'm going to meet myself right here. This is the thoughts that are playing out for me and the emotions then that are connected to those thoughts. No judgment. It's not right or wrong. There's no additional evidence we're going to present to ourselves. We're just going to observe and allow. Isn't that interesting? And the more compassion you can wrap that in, the better. Of course, that would be why I would think that. Of course, that would be why I would feel that way. That's okay. That's my experience. And then we're going to move ourselves to curiosity. What else might be true? Where is your influence in this? Where do you have control? How do you want to be in relationship to the part that you can't control? If you had a magic wand, how would you move through this? What outcome would you create? What would help move you forward? Who do you need on your team? Whose voice is not being heard? What would help support or soothe you in this moment? And just allow that process to settle into you as we begin to close our practice. Metacognition, allowing, and curiosity. This can be part of every meditation. It's a beautiful way to move through a self-coaching process. And it's a wonderful written practice as well. And when you're ready, find your breath again, breathing in, breathing out, realigning your posture, allowing your breath to flow, and then slowly opening up your eyes. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you. Meet the day with curiosity. You're amazing. Be well, and I will see you next week.